Sir Tristram and Savabeel are names well known in Australia for their formidable record of siring Melbourne Cup, Derby, Oaks and plenty of other Group 1 winners. But now Sababeel's son Savabeel, a Cox Plate winner himself, is carrying that mantle forward, and we visited him recently at Waikato Stud.
Sangster in front with 75 to go. Hugh Bowman makes it back-to-back Victoria Derbies.
Scarlet Lady raced to the lead. The Oaks is her.
No, Kestrel raced to the lead and takes out the Vinery Stud Stakes.
Mark Savabeel, he's been a wonderful horse to the entire Chittick family, obviously, and all your staff. Everyone is so fond of what he is as an animal, but he's left an incredible legacy here at Waikato, hasn't he?
Absolute legacy. Legacy for New Zealand, you know, like he's nearly heading in towards, he's not far off single figures and getting towards, heading towards his father's record of stakes winners, which is just incredible. Like, whether he makes it or not, you know, like he's tracking towards that, he should. And for him to become, if he becomes the highest stakes producing stallion to ever stand in New Zealand, that I think it'd be a deserved award, you know, because we've used all the accolades on the way through his incredible career at Stud. He's 23 years old now, so he's been at Stud 19 years. You know, he's been champion of this, champion of that, and obviously Group 1 winners, fillies, colts, sprinters, stayers, everything. He's just quite incredible. So it'd be lovely to reach that achievement of the highest stakes producing stallion ever to stand in New Zealand.
And it is a New Zealand thing, isn't it? I mean, you think, you know, Sir Tristram, Savabeel into Savabeel, and he was a Cox Plate winner. I remember when he won that Cox Plate as a 3-year-old, it was a bit of a surprise. Everyone was a little bit almost stunned. But do you remember that Cox Plate? Would you have dreamt this horse could be what he has been here in the years subsequent?
No, certainly I remember it once again, that turn of foot. I'd only seen him. We'd been in the stable just a couple of months beforehand and seen him, but it was certainly, probably what I don't forget is that it was certainly no surprise for Roger, and he let everybody know that on
That's
the TV
right.
afterwards.
He did.
Again, that turn of foot, came around the turn, back off them, massive turn of foot to win that Cox Plate. And two things that are a little bit different between him and his father, and Savabeel, and not taking anything away from Savabeel, but with Savabeel being out of a Success Express mare, I think, you know, like I'm sure that's where we get that bit of speed with a few of them, that earlier stuff and that bit of speed with them. Secondly, and probably even more pertinent, is Savabeel was a legend predominantly in that middle distance racing, and of course back in his time you didn't have the influx of import horses that were racing in those distances through the peak of his career, you know. So Savabeel's competed in those middle distance against all that influx of the European horses, and you know, still managed to, you know, top our premierships and end up in the top 10 in Australia, etc., etc.
Lucia Valentina, what a slashing win in the Queen Elizabeth.
And I guess, you know, you're so, you know, mired in the day-to-day here at a working stud farm. It's hard probably to step back and have a look and understand how much people love the horse. When you look at the stars that he's sired in Australia and New Zealand, Lucia Valentina, you know, Turnbull, Vinery, Queen Elizabeth in Sydney, Moonga, Probabeel, I Wish I Win. These are all really popular racehorses. Do you feel that, is that something that means a lot to you? Do you get time to step back and go, wow, look, everybody actually loves the produce of Savabeel?
Yeah, it's a very good question, that, and I suppose you remember back to Savabeel in those days, Might and Power, etc., and you just think, what an incredible stallion. We'll never see one like that again in New Zealand. But when you name those sorts of horses that Savabeel's left, and with him closing in on his amount of stakes winners, he's certainly up there. And I think one of the things that we're most proud of is he's 23 years old now. He's heading off to that breeding barn 2-3, hasn't been required to go 4 times this year, but he just charges down there with energy, like, as I say, when he was a 4-year-old and starting. So he's just a happy, healthy horse, and you know, while he's happy and healthy and still producing and doing what he does, then we're happy as well.
Do you have any favourites out of the horses he's produced? Are there some that you really? I mean, I Wish I Win obviously is very close to everyone's heart now, but any real favourites?
Oh, look, there's. I mean, the beauty about him and what he leaves is you get a lot of favourite horses, I suppose. And you know, in the foaling paddock now, it's just really nice to get fillies out of nice mares by him, because that's not going to we're not going to be able to get those forever. But yeah, I suppose for me personally, with the whole background story, etc., on I Wish I Win and what he's done for us, or what they've both done for us, Savabeel and him, I suppose he's got to be at the top of the list for me anyway. He
throws, you know, obviously the sprinters stay as middle distance horses, but when you look at them as yearlings, can you tell what might be a good horse when you see the foal or the yearling? Because a lot of them, you know, they're fairly similar. You know, he throws sort of a lot of similar types. Can you pick the ones that are going to be the good ones?
Well, you can have a go, but I suppose when they're by Savabeel, there's more chance than a lot of them. But no, he does leave it nice, tidy type, you know, and once again, not taking anything away from Savabeel, but he could leave the odd pretty big plain one, and Sav just hasn't done that, and probably once again going back to that Success Express sort of side of things, which is dam side, which has tidied things up. The real top judges, they probably say that they're not the best walkers at the yearling sales, but hey, when they get on the track, they're some of the best runners, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, it's fantastic seeing your staff too. We saw the team walking down with Savabeel. They're so proud of him as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we love him to bits, and you know, we've taken him through his whole life. You can really tell what he's thinking. He doesn't really need to talk. You know what he's saying.
And as a sire of sires too now, of course, Embellish is doing a great job of, you know, limited opportunities as a lesser priced stallion. Moonga calls a Beal. There's another legacy continuing on, and there aren't that many sire sons, are they?
No, that to be honest, you know, probably apart from Danehill, that probably goes across the board really. You know, like we all talk about sire sons, but it's a pretty hard gig, that sort of thing, following sire sons. When Gary first stood Centane, people said, what do you want a son of Century for? When we stood O'Reilly, they told us, what do you want a son of Last Tycoon for? You know, and even Savabeel, you know, like really, well, obviously Savabeel's his most successful sire son, and beyond that's probably Reset, who was sort of all right, you know, he was no Savabeel. So certainly to get young horses like we've talked about at Stud, and I know I'm probably biased, we always wanted to stand a son of Savabeel ourselves, and of course because we'd bred a few of them, like Embellish and like Moonga, obviously it limited our broodmare band a fair bit, whereas Noverre, he's out of a mare that Gary actually bought, and it's a different line, so that's why he really sort of suits us, and she was a group winner as a 2-year-old, so I don't think we'll have to wait too long for them. No, he's an absolute legacy, and we'll try our best, but it'll probably never be repeated.
Noverre, he ran right over the top of them.
Well, Noverre, he is here, as you mentioned. $10,000 he's standing for. This is fantastic for a 2,000 guineas winner, an $800,000 yearling bought by David Ellis and raced for Tiako. It is good to see he is continuing that legacy, and who knows what he could do.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he was a winner as a 2-year-old himself. Once again, he was second to last, buried on the rail in the 2,000 guineas. Opie got him to the outside. He said once he settled him and let him go, like to be honest, mathematically you'd think that there's no way that he'd catch them, sort of thing. But Opie said once he got him settled and in a straight line and let him go, he said he just knew he had it won. So that was an incredible turn of foot. Injured himself after that, so didn't get the opportunity to race in Australia. So that's when we acquired him, and he got 120 mares in his first season. Last season he served 130 on the foals that he'd left. This season, third season, you know, we're going to be certainly serving in excess of 140 mares. So it's sort of a little bit against the flow with what we usually live with in getting stallions going. His numbers have increased each year, and he hasn't had a runner.
We filmed him as a yearling here. He was one of our yearling drafts, and some of the notes that I made, one of the picks of the draft, very like Savabeel, all quality, will be one of your stars, I suspect. And he turned out to be exactly that, as a Group 1 winner. So he's another elite horse that, you know, a good judge like David Ellis, who's bought some wonderful horses here, obviously, you know, really admired from the outset.
Absolutely beautiful foal, and as I say, it's full brother made 950 at the Magic Millions sale. The mare's had 2 recent fillies, which Gary's kept, and they're just both beautiful types that foal this year. We're still less than 100 foals, but she's the best foal on the farm so far, and probably will be by the end of the year.
Well, so much to look forward to, and it's so great seeing so much of your family involved in the industry too. That's a great legacy that you yourself have left as well, yourself through, you know, Gary all the way through your kids. You know, there's so much more to come for generations here at Waikato Stud.
Absolutely. Well, there is a sire of size. Charlotte, the oldest, yeah, she's over there, and she's involved with Shadwell at Newmarket and helping out Angus Gold, which is fantastic. Her getting that experience. George has been here, there, and everywhere. Irish National Stud, Whitten, and now back here at the farm. And Harry, he's starting his farrier's apprenticeship, and Charlie, the 7-year-old, he's just telling us all what to do.
As it should be.
100%.